Hi, recovery mom, and wearing my favorite vitamin in my favorite shirt. And I got this message under one of my videos the other day, and so I'm going to read it. We're going to talk about it for a minute. It's really important. So this question says, "Hey ladies, I'm new to recovery after 10 plus years. I have binged all your videos and they help me so much during meal times. I really struggle with movement. I managed to stop formal exercise, great job, but walking and lower level movement is an issue. I feel so terrible if I don't go on a daily walk, as complete rest seems so scary and so wrong, okay? Even though I know it's what my body needs. It's typical anorexia versus true self thinking right there. Additionally, I would feel so guilty and inadequate to just sit and rest whilst not compensating and continue to eat 2,500 plus calories. Was there a time when you completely rested, no walking, standing, etc., and ate that amount still for months? I compare myself to other people in recovery who still walk and do movement, which makes my ED believe it's not okay to just do nothing. Sorry, and I hope this makes sense." So let's tackle this piece by piece, because this is just absolutely something that happens to most of us in recovery, right? So basically, you've been struggling for 10 plus years, and it sounds like you've given up like the gym or running or whatever main exercise you've been doing, which is amazing. That's wonderful. That is such a big step. Sounds like you're eating plenty, okay? But then you're still standing, fidgeting, walking up and down stairs, which I hear you. I totally did the same thing, okay? When I gave up the gym, I stopped going to the gym and I canceled my membership, which was so embarrassing. Like, I wish I could have done it online because I was so ill at that point. Even when I went to the gym, I was like afraid they were going to kick me out at any moment. But I finally canceled that membership, and then it just like I still would walk at home. I would go up and down the stairs as many times as I could, you know, sit-ups, those kind of things. And then it's that little need and drive that we have inside to move. And in fact, the reason that we have that drive is some of our hormones and our neurotransmitters in our body are responsible for movement. They fire off and they make us feel like we need and want to move, okay? We have hormones for everything. Neurotransmitters fire off for everything. And so when you have anorexia, these are firing off in the wrong way. So they're sending you signals that your body needs to move even when it shouldn't be moving, okay? For example, our body thinks we're in a famine, okay? It thinks we're migrating. And so what's happening is that your body is sending you these false signals by way of your wonky hormones that are flipped the wrong way, or your neurotransmitters that are turned the wrong way. And your brain chemistry is literally off. So you have to remember that these are false signals that you're getting to move your body. They're anorexic signals. They're the same kind of thing as when your eating disorder is telling you not to eat all day. We know it's wrong. We know that's not the case, right? We will die. But our brain is sending us this false information. So you have to know that that information, first of all, is completely false. And when it comes to tackling it, there's a couple different things. So for me, those kind of things went away slowly the more that I gained and the more that I ate. So I would wonder also if maybe you have a lot more gaining to do. And I know that's scary, and that's like the last thing anyone with an eating disorder wants to hear, but also that's what's going to turn off the genetic component. So if that genetic component is still switched in a way that your hormones are feeding you this, you need to walk, you need to move, right? The way to flip those hormones the right way is to get back to your set point and maintain there long enough that those hormones can normalize, that those neurotransmitters can normalize, okay? So we have to make sure you're gaining and gaining enough to get to that set point. And once you get to that set point, you even have to remain there for a while. Those hormones and neurotransmitters, they take a while to normalize. So you have to maintain there for a while before you're going to notice a difference. And you also talk about how you feel so guilty, right? We just feel so guilty and shameful when we sit and rest and do nothing. I can remember asking my therapist, what do people do? Like, honestly, what do they do if they're not like running, walking, cleaning the refrigerator top to bottom, scrubbing the floors? Like, what do people do? And she was like, they watch TV, they read a book, they play on their phones, they play on their computers. Like, they just do stuff while they're sitting. People do that all the time. That is normal. And so also you have to remember that it is normal and necessary for your body to rest. Your body needs rest like medication right now. Your body's lack of movement is literally the medication that you need to recover from this illness, okay? And when you take this medication, total relaxation, total rest, the side effects that you're going to feel are guilt and shame, and you're going to be crawling out of your skin. But those are the side effects to your medication. And if you were taking chemotherapy or insulin or like dialysis, any other medication, they come with a lot of side effects. But you wouldn't not take your medicine, right? It's just harder because the side effect of this medication is something that makes us feel really yucky mentally, right? Instead of just like chills or fever or whatever, like other kind of medications give. This one gives us like guilt and shame and these horrible feelings of being inadequate and wrong. But those are side effects of the medication, and your medication is solid rest and not moving your body. So yes, it is really important to rest and not move at this time, especially if you feel like you're moving because anorexia is asking you to move. And you also talk about something that we all deal with, right? Which is comparing ourselves with other people. And I'm gonna set my phone down for a minute because this is like so important for you to hear this. We all compare ourselves with other people in the eating disorder community. And it's not just like, there's not just like some out of the blue reason that we do this. Your body feels like it's migrating and it thinks it's in a famine, okay? So basically, your body, and you've taught your body that you're in a famine. Your body is in a famine environment. I mean, it's not in reality, there's food everywhere, but your brain doesn't know that, right? Your body doesn't know that because you're not giving it the food, or you weren't. You're starting to now, and that's wonderful, and it sounds like you're doing a great job. But when your body is migrating and in a famine, right? How does it, let's think about like, how do you know if you're doing a good job migrating, right? If you're really migrating and in a famine, you know you're doing a good job because you're losing weight, because you're restricting well, because you're thinner than everybody else in the environment, right? That's a sign of success according to your eating disorder. According to anorexia, you are doing things wonderfully. If you are smaller than everybody, if you are running harder than everybody, if you are fidgeting more than everybody, if you are eating less than everybody, those are all signs of success. And that's why when we do those things and we compare with other people, right? We feel so good and wonderful when we compare and we're lower. That's also why we look out into the world and we see people smaller, we see people still working out, we see people that like all these signs, and they make us feel inadequate and wrong, even though we're doing the right thing. And that's because we're still listening to anorexia, and anorexia is still in there telling us that we're migrating and we're in a famine. And if we're in a famine, those would be signs that we were doing a good job, okay? So you have to remind yourself, I'm not in a famine. It no longer means anything when I see my body and someone else's body and they're skinnier, they're still walking. Why can't I walk? They're still walking, right? So you have to remember that that is anorexia talking, not you. And also, when you start comparing yourself to someone else and seeing them walking and they are recovered, number one, maybe they are completely recovered and they enjoy a walk. Wonderful. Maybe they are not recovered and they're doing the same thing you're doing, right? Maybe they're walking and they say they're recovered, but they go home at night and binge and purge every night. You do not know anything other than the visual thing that you see at that moment from that person. You do not know, other than if you're looking at someone on social media, what you're seeing in that post on that page. You don't know what they're doing behind closed doors. For me, when it came to seeing those people on social media, I had to stop looking. When I literally had to take everybody off my page that weighed less than me, especially if they move their body, okay? I just couldn't be around it, I couldn't watch it. Now I can, but now I just don't really care to. But you have to do whatever in your life you have to do so that you don't fall backwards into that recovery trap again and regress. So if that means cleaning out your feed, you need to clean out your feed. Now in real life, if you have a coworker that like goes for a walk every day, number one, if they're not disordered, if they don't have an eating disorder, they get to go for a walk every day. They get to move their body how they want. They don't have an eating disorder. It's just like if somebody had diabetes, say, right? They have to eat a certain way, but in the break room, you might see people eating like, I don't know, candy bars or fruit or whatever that they're not allowed to eat, right? They have different needs for different illnesses in their body. You have an eating disorder, you have anorexia. You cannot run, you cannot walk, you cannot fidget, you cannot walk up and down the stairs. You just don't get to do those things. So when you see other people, like, I'm sorry, if they don't have an eating disorder, they get to walk, they get to do those things. You don't. You have an eating disorder, you have a different body, you have a different health path, and this is for life, right? Maybe when you're fully recovered, you can walk again. I will say what happened to me, I used to like work out mad at the gym, then just like you, I stopped the gym and I stopped running and stuff. Then it all transferred into my home, right? Fidgeting, standing, cleaning, all that kind of stuff. I gained to my set point, I gained enough weight. Those things just kind of fell off. I just didn't want to do them, especially when I went through extreme hunger and was bloating all the time. The last thing I want to do is move my body. I just wanted to sit there and like deal with the bloat, okay? And eventually those kind of things, those kind of thoughts, they just kind of dissipated and went away as I gained weight and as I got healthier. So that might happen for you. You might find that you have to challenge them, and you might have to like white knuckle those first times that you sit still all day. You know, tomorrow I'm gonna sit still the entire day and see how that feels. You're gonna have to white knuckle it, and it's gonna feel really yucky and it's gonna feel horrible, but it's also your medication, and it's also what you need to heal and recover from this eating disorder. And so, like, I hope that made sense. There's just so many things that go into our need to move, right? When you see other people and they're moving their body in a way that you wish you could, you have an eating disorder, you're not other people. And if they have an eating disorder and they're in the recovery community and they're moving that body that way, A, maybe they're fully recovered and they enjoy moving their body that way and their eating disorder thoughts are gone. B, maybe they're not fully recovered and they're struggling too. And if that's the case, you know how they feel, right? That doesn't negate the fact that you need to do what's good for you. You need to take your medication. Your medication is complete and total rest right now, okay? So I hope that makes sense. We could go into like the whole comparison thing, what to do when you see somebody in a different body or on a different path, and like there's certain things you can do at that time to try to get over those feelings. And if you want another video like that, we can do it. But I just wanted to pop on here and kind of respond. There was so many things in that question. So many things go into such a small little thing as fidgeting when you have an eating disorder. But also, you need to rest. You have permission for complete and total rest all day, every single day. And still eating over 2,500 calories. In fact, I would suspect you probably need twice that for quite a while. I know I did. Anyway, I hope that helps. I'm gonna go.